Now, Turkey, an emerging as well as a regional economic powerhouse. Deputy Prime Minister Ali Babacan told a UN panel yesterday that Turkey is on its way to becoming a $2 trillion economy. That's by 2013. And the Deputy Prime Minister is our guest now. Deputy Prime Minister, welcome to Bloomberg.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Now, how do we get to $2 trillion by 2013 for the Turkish economy? Is it internal development?
Actually, that target is for year 2023.
2023. So we're going to give you a little bit more time to get to $2 trillion.
Exactly. It is the 100th year anniversary of our republic, actually, the modern Turkey's 100th anniversary. Turkish economic growth has always come from private sector activity. It's private consumption and private investments that is driving growth in Turkey. And that's why, from the very beginning, since 2002, we put confidence as the main theme of our economic programs. For the last 8 years, we always emphasized confidence. Public finances has always been a priority area for us. Fiscal discipline, prudent monetary policies by our central bank. Also, structural reforms in many areas, but including the banking area, has been key pillars of what we have been doing. For example, for banking, our banks all throughout this crisis didn't have any problems. We didn't put any government money to any bank. We didn't even change our guarantee scheme during this crisis. So our banks are very strong to continue lending during even difficult times.
Now, indeed, the banking sector had previously reformed, and as a result, there had been already some supervision of the banking sector to prevent the kind of recurring crisis that you're describing.
Whatever is being done nowadays in this country, in the United States, we have done everything in 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006 period, during those years. We had our credit card law. We had our laws about strengthening the capital of the banks. We are asking for very high liquidity rates.
Well, indeed, I think the central bank just recently increased the amount of reserves that the banks would have to hold, but also they decided to stop paying interest on the amounts that the banks have on deposit with the central bank.
That happened just today in the morning. It is part of our exit strategy that the central bank announced for the monetary policies. For the fiscal side, we have already announced our strategy last year in September. Turkey was one of the very first countries which did fiscal tightening. We announced a medium-term program last year by which step by step we are going to be reducing our deficits and control the debt to GDP ratio. And nowadays, CDS spreads of Turkey are lower than countries like Spain, Portugal, Italy, who are in the EU, very high rating countries which are thought to be stable, but now Turkey is considered to be even safer than those countries when we look at the market indicators.
Now, I'm glad you brought up the EU, though, because I know that you have personal experience with negotiations having to do with Turkey's potential entry into the European Union. Is that going to be revived because you're now able to point to such an economic record? Do you think that that is going to put Turkey in a better position if they want to get into the EU?
Turkey was considered to be a potential burden for the EU if it were a member. But nowadays, the picture is just vice versa. Turkey is becoming more and more considered to be an asset. Right now, Turkey is going to be the highest growth economy in Europe this year and next year as well. Whatever many European countries were doing last year, we have done the reverse, and now we are getting the rewards. Last year, fiscal stimulus was the theme, but for those countries which have high debt to GDP ratio, in our opinion, fiscal stimulus plans are very risky. When the debt is already high, and if you add more deficits to the debt what you already have, it hurts the market confidence and hits back growth. Many European countries are now experiencing that. What we have done timely was fiscal consolidation. And the fact that we have been decreasing our deficits, we have been tightening our budget, but meanwhile, attaining a growth rate like something, but this year markets expect, let's say, 5 to 8% growth for Turkey this year. And this is happening during a time when we are implementing fiscal tightening for the last 1 year, 1 full year. Our central bank already started, as you said, tightening on the monetary side as well. Why? Because when we have the confidence that things will be stable in medium to long term, then growth comes. Because our growth, as I said, is private sector growth, which is happening more and more.
All right. Deputy Prime Minister, we're mentioning the European Union. Is there going to be another round of efforts to pull Turkey into the European Union? Do you think that the European countries are going to want this to happen?
Our accession process, which is the process of reforms in Turkey, which is bringing Turkey closer and closer to the EU standards, is continuing. Things are on track and moving forward. Speed changes from time to time. Sometimes we move faster, sometimes we move slower. In terms of the technical preparation for Turkey to become a member, we are doing very fine. And we have already caught many of the EU standards as of now. Problems are more on the political side. There are different concerns of different member states about if Turkey becomes a full member, what kind of an EU we are going to have. Our belief is we are going to add more power to the EU. EU will be a truly global actor when Turkey is in. With a wider membership structure, with more cultural diversity, the legitimacy of EU will be stronger. The representation power of the EU will be stronger. That's what we think. Membership happens or not, or when the membership happens, that's a secondary agenda item for us. For us, the process itself is more valuable than the outcome because the process helps us. We continuously upgrade our standards in democracy, in our legal system, in economy, in subjects like environment. We continuously upgrade our system by being in the process. And so far, that's what we care about. Membership will happen whenever there is a political consensus around the members of the EU.
Now, Turkey has served as a bridge between Europe and Asia for many years. It's also served almost as a bridge in the Middle East between countries such as Israel and Turkey and the Muslim world. But also now we see some activity, Turkey and Iran doing a lot of business. Should people be concerned about the relationships between Turkey and Iran?
Turkey and Iran, we are neighbors. Our border with Iran was fixed in 1639, and that border has not changed since then. And that border is also a border between two different mentalities. Half of the Iranian population are ethnically Turk. They speak Turkish.
But so you have this long-standing relationship with them.
Long-standing
We're going to have to leave it there. I want to thank you very much, Deputy Prime Minister Ali Babacan.
Thank you.
And